Hi, Marga and Lawrence. Welcome to the Wednesday class for Headway Elementary. Can you guys please take out your books and your notebooks and go to page 58 and 59? Okay, 58 and 59. So, in the last class, we learned about at, in, on, and we talked about our life stories, okay? So today, we are going to read a text about somebody else's life story. So, in your book on page 58, have a look at number 1. It says, look at the pictures here, 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 and here. Who are the men? Who are they? What did they do? When did they do it? So, who are they? This is Louis Blériot. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. This is Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin. Okay, these people were astronauts. This guy was a pilot. Okay, who are they? What did they do? It says the first air journey, 1909. The first air journey. So journey by air. Probably the first flight ever. And here, the first man on the moon, 1969. Okay, this is self-explanatory. The first person, the first person to land on the moon. Okay, so it's all talking about flight. Look up here. Planes to rockets in 60 years. There are just 60 years between the first flight and the first man on the moon. In the 20th century, progress in aviation was phenomenal. Wow, okay. So, when did they do it as well? It says the dates right here. Okay, what was phenomenal? What? Their progress. Because in only 60 years, they were flying around Earth, and here they're flying out of Earth. Okay? So, what I would like you guys to do is to please read the texts. Well, listen to me reading, and you can copy my pronunciation. After, answer the questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you need to answer these questions in your notebook for homework. So listen to me reading the texts, copy my pronunciation, and then answer the questions, okay? So 1909, the first air journey. On July 25th, 1909, a Frenchman, Louis Blériot, became the first man to complete an air journey when he flew from Calais in the north of France to Dover in the south of England. Blériot's flight amazed the whole of Europe. People thought that such a journey was impossible. The flight. The flight wasn't easy. Mr. Blériot, a 37-year-old engineer, couldn't swim, so he didn't want to come down in the channel. He couldn't walk well because of an injury to his leg, and he didn't have a compass. On the morning of the 25th, he took off at 4:30 from a field at the edge of a cliff. It took 37 minutes to complete the 22-mile journey. The plane flew at 40 miles per hour at an altitude of 250 feet. Everything went well until he flew into fog. I continued flying for 10 minutes, but I couldn't see the land, only the sky and the sea. It was the most dangerous part of the flight. I wasn't worried about the machine. It flew beautifully. Finally, I saw the land, he told reporters. Landing in England. When he got to Dover, he saw a French journalist waving a flag. He cut the engine at 60 feet and crashed into a field. The news quickly went around the world, and Mr. Blériot's flight was celebrated in London and Paris. He won a prize of £1,000. The crossing was the start of modern aviation, said Louis Blériot, the grandson of the pioneer. Okay, so that was this text. Now we're going to read this text. Okay, 1969, the first man on the moon. On the 16th of July, 1969, at 9:30 in the morning, Apollo 11 lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. There were 3 astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. The enormous rocket took 3 days to complete the 250,000 miles to the moon, traveling at 6 miles per second, 21,600 miles an hour. Then it circled the moon 30 times, giving time to prepare for the landing. The lunar landing. The lunar module landed on a part of the moon called the Sea of Tranquility at 8:17 in the evening on July 20th. It was time for the astronauts to rest, but they were too excited to sleep. At 3 in the morning on July 21st, Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon. 600 million people all over the world watched on TV. As Armstrong took his first steps, he said the famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Walking on the moon. Armstrong and Aldrin spent 2.5 hours walking on the moon. They collected samples and set up scientific equipment. Finally, they put up a US flag. After 22 hours on the moon, the lunar module lifted off and flew up to join the rocket that took them back to Earth. They left an inscription. Here, men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969. We came in peace for all mankind. This flight was the beginning of man's exploration of space. Okay, so that was this text. You can go back and listen multiple times to practice your pronunciation. Go to number 3. You have 6 questions that you need to answer in your notebooks. Number 1, when and where did the journey begin for this and this? How long did it take for this and this? How far was the journey there? How fast did he or they go? Where did the journey end? And in what way was this flight just a beginning? Okay, now you need to finish number 5 as well in your notebooks. You have 2 different sections of questions. You have for Blériot and Apollo 11. So Blériot says, number 1, why was Blériot's flight difficult? Number 2, was the weather good? Number 3, how did he know where to land? And number 4, what did he win? For Apollo 11, number 5 says, why couldn't the astronauts sleep? 6, what did Armstrong say as he stepped onto the moon? Number 7, how long did they spend walking on the moon's surface? And 8, what did they leave on the moon? Okay, so your homework is these questions for both texts, this question for this, these questions for this, and these questions for this one. Okay, if you guys have any questions for me, please email me or write to me on WhatsApp, and I'm happy to help you. So you can close your books now. We're finished. The last thing I want to tell you is that next week we don't have any classes because it's Easter. It's a holiday, okay? So I'm going to send you some work to do over the holiday, but we don't have any video classes, okay? Okay, guys. Well, take care and have a really good rest of your week, okay? Bye. See you in a few weeks.